I thought I might start with the sandwich, Mr. Treasurer. So Stephen Kennedy's the head of Treasury, comes up to your house in Logan in Brisbane, and what does he say? Does he say, sorry about this, Treasurer? Does he say 4.25%, we didn't really mean it? Does he say we've got an interest rates, inflation, energy explosion? How were you briefed on how bad things were?
Well, I was really grateful to Stephen. He'd be the first Treasury Secretary in the history of humankind to come out to Logan City, so he already gets a big tick from me. I appreciate that a lot. He came to my house on the Sunday around lunchtime, and we had a good, frank conversation about the circumstances that we inherited. And clearly, there was enough of a sense immediately prior to the election, with the interest rate rise, the inflation number coming in at 5.1%, the highest in more than 2 decades. And so we had a sense of the challenges, but I think that inflation problem has gotten worse in the subsequent period, even in the last few weeks, if you listen to the Reserve Bank Governor, as we all do. Energy prices have been a big part of the story, grocery prices and elsewhere in the economy. So that's the main part of the conversation that I've been having with Treasury is around the inflation outlook, what that means for interest rates and what that then means for economic activity. But the budget is of concern to us as well. That's one of the reasons why Katie Gallagher and I nominated $11.5 billion worth of savings even before the election, and we're looking for more now because we desperately need to improve the quality of the budget. And as I said, I think one of your colleagues, Trudy McIntosh, asked me a question at a press conference soon after I was sworn in. And when it comes to the budget, we need to recognise that there won't just be these kind of automatic upgrades to the budget. Commodity prices are helping, but some of the other upgrades are not necessarily eventuating. And we've got a lot of pressures which weren't in the budget that we inherited. They weren't factored in, things like some of the ongoing costs of COVID-19. So all of that together is a pretty challenging outlook, as I ran through from the lectern a moment ago, and I've been in more or less rolling daily conversations with the Treasury about them.
All right, you said kind of the big element of discussion in that speech when you spoke about inflation's going to go a lot higher than 5.1%. So are we talking 8? Are we talking 10? And then does the Reserve Bank have the equipment to make sure next year's 4, for example?
Well, I'll update the inflation forecast in a methodical way rather than have a stab at it over lunch today, as much as I respect you all. But if you listen to the Reserve Bank Governor even yesterday, their expectations were around 6%, and the indications he gave yesterday was that he thought it would be worse than that. And, Ross and others here who do their own analysis, I think it's almost universally agreed now that inflation will be certainly north of the 5.1 we saw in the March quarter and most likely north of the 6% that people have been talking about. But I'll update that forecast properly at the end of July.
And for how long, just to tempt you a little bit more?
This challenge will be with us for a while, and it has different characteristics. We talk about energy, we talk about groceries, shipping costs have been a big part of the story, as Jennifer and I have discussed on earlier occasions, and so the character of the challenge has changed, even kind of week to week, but I think most of us would expect that we'll have inflation with us certainly for the rest of this year at least.